And I don't know about you, but for me, today is a holiday because Field Yates has a mock draft available. It's Mock Draft 3.0, and we'll focus on the quarterbacks in round one. He has two of them. No surprise, Fernando Mendoza going number one overall to the Raiders. That feels like a foregone conclusion. And then in this mock draft, he has Ty Simpson from Alabama sneaking his way up the draft board to number 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's bring Field Yates into the conversation here. Yates, obviously the discussion about Mendoza is an easy one. Is he ready to walk in and begin transforming a franchise from day one?
Yeah, Greeny, the discussion surrounding Fernando Mendoza is what neighborhood he's going to live in Las Vegas. Beyond that, everything else is fait accompli. But yes, he can transform an offense in Las Vegas because I think it's the ideal pairing along with Clint Kubiak, their new head coach. One of the comparisons, I know you know this, Greeny, that I've used for Mendoza during the fall has been Sam Darnold, who, of course, just won a Super Bowl with Clint Kubiak in Seattle. Hard play-action quarterback, full field accuracy, functional mobility, all the traits that you see from Fernando Mendoza on tape this past season. He had 41 passing touchdowns. That was more than any other FBS quarterback and showed dramatic improvement in terms of pocket awareness. Took just 25 sacks this year, nearly half as many as he did the year prior.
Yeah, there are no questions about Mendoza as the number one pick. I would just very quickly throw it around this table because I think the second one is the more interesting one from Field. Very quickly throw it around. Is it the right thing to do for a franchise at the very bottom that has as many needs as they do to start with the quarterback? You start by building around the quarterback.
Yeah, you start with building around the quarterback. If Clint Kubiak, when he walks in, if that's his guy, that's the guy you take, you build around it. They did it in Indy with Peyton Manning. You see they do it a lot of different places. Burrow, they did it within Cincinnati. It's the fastest way to get back on track. If you don't have that position, you don't have any opportunity to win in the NFL.
I think to Jeff's point, it's one way to do it. I don't think it's the only way to do it. I think we've seen teams, Seattle, for example, when they won their first Super Bowl, they had a team built. When they ended up with Russell Wilson, they were able to plug him in and still win. So I think for the Raiders, yes, if you firmly believe in Mendoza, you draft him. If not, you could trade that pick and still build around.
A long way from that roster of the Seahawks. Long way from there.
That's sort of the point.
That would be the
right.
Long way.
Well, that's kind of the alternative point.
What they're both describing, both of those philosophies do make sense. It really is. If this is your guy, then you cannot wait. If you're Clint Kubiak, the first order of business is the quarterback, deciding whether you want Fernando or not.
Right.
But two, Maxx Crosby. Because this is a roster with a ton of holes.
Yeah.
So does Maxx Crosby help you win in 2026? Or does he help you win in 2026 by sending him somewhere else, recouping some picks, and then using that to refurnish that roster?
Put a pin in that one. We're coming back to it in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, Yates, I'll come back to you because the real question here has been who is the second quarterback in this draft and where does he go? What are your answers to those?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clearly Ty Simpson, Greeny, from Alabama. And I do think that Ty Simpson lands in the first round. The range, by the way, could start much sooner than number 21. Amongst the teams that do need a quarterback this year, not saying that we use that pick on Ty Simpson, but the Jets at number 2, the Cardinals at number 3, the Dolphins at number 11. Obviously, the Steelers at 21 is where I had him. Don't forget the Browns pick at 6 and 24 as well. It's a long season, Greeny. And I think that now that we are about a month or so removed from the end of Alabama's season, that I think that executives that are evaluating Ty Simpson are taking a much more comprehensive look. The stuff that was really good at the beginning of the season should not be dismissed. I think the next couple of months will also be very good to him as teams get a chance to find out what kind of processor, leader, and individual he is.
Kmart, what is your sense of what they're thinking in Pittsburgh?
As of right now, I would be surprised if the Steelers don't bring back Aaron Rodgers into the fold. And I am not saying that is what I think they should do. But this is a team that has been hesitant to hit that reset button and say, we have to rebuild. Let's figure out how to get better for a year or two and then try to win Super Bowls. They kind of have kept things status quo and tried to plug and play. That's why I think Rodgers could be back in the fold. Also, if I'm Mike McCarthy, who's my number 2 wide receiver? Who's the person opposite DK? They have an aging wide receiving core, and Calvin Austin, I believe, is going to be a free agent. They have holes to fill as well.
Well, as Yates knows, there are excellent wide receivers that will be available in that neighborhood, of the draft. But the quarterback is the interesting one. If Rodgers is coming back, do you still like the idea of taking the quarterback, Rodgers, and then developing the young guy waiting for it behind him as they did in Green Bay once upon a time?
Absolutely. Listen, from the Steelers' perspective, Aaron Rodgers gives them the best chance to win right now. another quarterback, whether it's Ty Simpson or somebody else moves up into that, they need to have a long-term solution in Pittsburgh at quarterback. If there's what cost Mike Tomlin and just frustrated him to when he didn't want any more of this, that question, if it never gets answered, people aren't going to keep trusting a 43, 44. Like at some point, you have to move on. That's why you draft a guy and develop him under Rodgers.
Have Will Howard, guys.
And that might be their guy.
Potentially. I think it's interesting because if you do draft a guy like Simpson in the first round and you get out there and you bring Rodgers back, what if Simpson surprises you? What if you get out there and it's like, wow, this kid is ready to play right now? Do you hold him back and continue to let Aaron Rodgers play through the season and say, hey, he's here for next year in the future? Or do you put him out there and say, hey, he has some ability right now that can help us win games?
And that's what McCarthy has done. He made, even when, let me tell you something. I went to Green Bay. Rodgers was ripping it up when Favre was still a quarterback on scout team. He's watched a great one sit and wait his turn. He has the patience. And they've won a bunch of games, Greeny. They're 9-7 in the playoffs together, McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. He understands how to develop quarterbacks. There's one thing about Mike McCarthy, developing quarterbacks is an area he knows.
I have one more quick question for Yates. Do I still have field? Yates, the Trinidad Chambliss, who we all saw make that great run with Ole Miss all the way to the semifinals, it still hangs in the balance whether he's going to be allowed to go back to college or not. That's what he wants. If he can't and he winds up in this draft, where does he go? Does he have a chance to become QB2?
I don't believe so, Grady. On day 2 is Trinidad Chambliss, and it comes down to this: is he was electric during the college football playoff, obviously, and he carved up several of the best defenses in college football. Small player, though, Grady. This is a very much an outlier type frame. This is a 5'10-ish quarterback, and we have seen some quarterbacks get drafted very high. Kyler Murray and Bryce Young amongst the most notable recent ones. I do believe, though, he's more of a day 2 at best type of prospect than a day 1 quarterback. I think no matter what happens to Trinidad Chambliss, we're talking about 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza and then Ty Simpson, who I want to make clear, I am not dismissing the possibility that I'm quite a bit too low on Ty Simpson at player number 21 overall.
Oh, wow. Meaning that he goes earlier than that.
Earlier than that, yes, indeed. Yep.
Okay. Field Yates, Mock Draft 3.0, and First Draft Podcast every Monday and every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. Holding McCourt. We gave J-Mac an assignment, said bring us back some fascinating hot takes about what could happen during this offseason, and he understood the assignment.
Yes, Greeny, I was looking out for you. You need a quarterback with the New York Jets. Trade for Kyler Murray. Go out there and get a guy. They went and got Justin Fields, a quarterback that can throw the ball and can run. Kyler Murray brings that element. First overall pick. They had that when they had Vinny Testaverde. He was a first overall pick. Why not run it back with Kyler Murray? Allow him to get in this offense, get the ball out to Garrett Wilson and some of those guys. Bring some of his veteran experience and his journey. They just watched Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl, a guy that's gone through some things. See if he can figure it out, Kmart.
I have found myself wondering, is Kyler Murray going to be the next in the line of the sort of great reclamation projects? We've seen Baker Mayfield left for dead in a few places, now playing great. Sam Darnold, obviously the same story, and there have been a few others. Kyler Murray certainly has a skill set and could be that. You know the Jets in that situation as well as anyone. How do you like it?
From a talent perspective on the field, I like it. I hate it for everything off the field.
Meaning?
Keep in mind, in Arizona, teammates question leadership. Can he win you games? Yes. Could he potentially be a headache? Yes. I don't know that to be true. I don't know if that would be the case here, but it does give me pause when your teammates question your leadership. For this franchise in particular, this is a franchise that needs stability. This is a franchise with a head coach who is already on the hot seat. This is a franchise that needs the GM, the head coach, the quarterback, all to be on one accord and going in the same direction. Talent-wise, I like it. I just wonder in this market if it works.
What do you think, Jeff?
I love you, dude. This would have stirred up in New York. Hey, well played, sir.
Like it?
Well played. I like it. I mean, and to your point, I think that's the alignment matters, right? Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator now, Aaron Glenn, like how they piece and put this thing together. Dual threat QB would be a massive benefit in New York. Your offensive line is not strong to quite strong yet, so they'll develop.
If their offensive line isn't strong, then they literally have nothing. All their first-round picks have been on the offensive line.
They have to develop young. Yeah, they got to develop. So as you're looking at all these things, a quarterback that can beat you with his feet and beat you with his arm, and I don't get nearly into QB play enough to know whether all that kind of stuff. How does Kyler Murray stack up with all those things? I'm sure they'll assess it, but I do like the fit off the jump.
I mean, they need a quarterback. Of that, there is no question.
They have the cap space.
It's an intriguing possibility. I don't know. I mean, it's an intriguing possibility.
You hate anything that we bring you with the Jets. You hate it always.
No, did I say I hate it? It's an intriguing possibility. I really don't know what I think. I think it is fraught with peril. Let's put it that way. I think I do. I think it is.
This is his life.
I think it is. I think.
Did I say I hate it? No, but I'm fraught with peril.
It's fraught with peril. I'm not fraught with peril. I mean, I am, but that's a whole other situation. It is fraught with peril because it feels like if that thing goes south, he could get eaten alive in this town.
That's my fear.
I would be a little worried about that part of it. Okay, so that's the first one.
Okay.
Give me another something. Give me something else you can see this offseason.
I came ready for you. The Buffalo Bills, they gotta make a splash. Free agency. Michael Evans. Go get Mike Evans, bring him there. One of the main reasons, they said they still believe in Keon Coleman. When they drafted Keon Coleman, you hope that he can become a Mike Evans type of receiver. Somebody that wins on the contested catches. Somebody on third down and in the red zone, Josh Allen can trust to get the ball to. Mike Evans is still doing that at an elite level. You bring a veteran, a professional on and off the field to come over to this team in a situation where they want to win now. Mike Evans is also a Super Bowl champion. He brings that to the locker room as well.
Finally, you bring me something. I'm 100%
Kmart
on board
approves
with this. Number one, the pairing of Josh Allen and Mike Evans, I love it. Number two, Keon Coleman. There's somebody you can look at, you can learn from. That sort of veteran presence in that room, I love it for him. I think Josh Allen clearly needs a new number one, a real number one. And Mike Evans, he's one of the best wide receivers in the game, and yet somehow underappreciated by fans. I think he goes to Buffalo, they'd kill it.
What do you think, Jeff?
I love it as well. I mean,
you had another one, though. I saw the notes. You had another receiver that you sort of were intrigued by the possibility of them trading for.
A.J. Brown. I mean, those are – listen, I love Mike Evans. In where they are in their career, A.J. Brown is in a different stratosphere. Like, he is as good as it gets in our game right now.
He is?
Absolutely. He wins on routes that are super simple and find ways to win. Now, he has a little bit of the stay interested in him because of what we just saw. He didn't like Petula and what they were doing. But when you see A.J. Brown featured as the one with Josh Allen, are you kidding me? I mean, that is an absolute home run. So you pair either. I like Mike Evans as well. The Keon Coleman thing. Did you hear what the owner said about how do you recover? He's got thick skin, and you were about to see how tough internally this guy is to come back because everybody in there the bus just kept going back and forth over him in this press conference that was supposed to be about a coach getting fired. And so, the whole let's try to get him along, I'm not sure how that works, but either of those two guys, A.J. Brown and Mike Evans, Josh Allen, Brandon Beane doesn't believe so. He needs help at receiver.
Yeah, and I believe that's why Mike Evans is such a good pairing because of who he is off the field. I think Stephon Diggs was there. They got rid of him. I just think Mike Evans comes in a consummate professional, a Hall of Fame guy. If you're Keon Coleman, if you're not going to listen to Mike Evans in your wide receiver room and watch the way he does things, then we know for sure that you're not going to be that guy.
Okay, and then we saved the best for last. You have one more holding McCourt that I found fascinating.
If you're going to ask me to play Madden with no consequences, I'm going for the jugular. If I'm the Raiders, why not go out and trade Maxx Crosby? And for the Dallas Cowboys, you franchise tag George Pickens. You don't work out a long-term deal. You trade him to the Raiders, get Crosby in exchange. Now you've just beefed up your defensive line. New coordinator coming over. Maxx Crosby's going to make everybody on the defensive side of the ball better. And on top of that, have you watched the way Maxx Crosby plays the game of football? He plays every single play of the game. And for the Raiders, you get a weapon as George Pickens. Fernando Mendoza, you need some weapons on the outside? Well, you got one. You got a dog out there in George Pickens.
You're doing too much. Doing too much now. I know you love it. Here's my only question.
What's your only?
Do we not like George Pickens paired with CeeDee Lamb? Wasn't that part of why their offense has been doing so well? So you get rid of GP. What?
They're gonna need that.
They need defense, right? I mean, they had literally the worst defense in the NFL last year.
Understood. Hembo sent me these stats. Dallas just turned in the worst defense of any team in the last 5 years, allowed 2.9 points per drive. right? They picked 12th, they picked 20th. Does this make sense? Of course, they need defensive help, but they need defensive help everywhere. I just also think with Dak, we praise that offense. We watched CD finally have a guy next to him, and that's why it was magic all season. It's like, hey, that worked. Let's ship that guy off. They don't need him.
No. They need him. You want him. But if I'm George Pickens, I want what CD Lamb is making too.
And if you yes, you do run the risk if you slap the franchise tag on a player that player is not thrilled about it, and then how that goes
Breaks
from
down,
there,
yeah.
we don't know. And then the second part of it is if you're the Cowboys, and I gave you the option of either having George Pickens or Maxx Crosby on your team. Again, we're just, to your point, we're playing Madden here with no consequences.
Yeah.
But the idea of adding a player like Maxx Crosby, that feels to me like it would be quite appealing.
Oh, my word. I mean, it's a force multiplier. He is a try-hard guy, which is a term that we use in the NFL. He never quits. He never stops, with athletic, freakish ability.
Right.
He does all of it. He never stops. I mean, the guy crashes down the run. He goes at the passer. If you think about how many times I was on this show talking about effort on Dallas's defense. Mm-hmm. You know what that would never happen again when you see that guy line up on your side, because he is going to make everybody else play that much harder. Yeah. Of all teams, Greeny, anybody needing a pass rusher, if you ain't calling Las Vegas Raiders and trying to get that deal done, you have lost your mind. And if you're Maxx Crosby, he just watched DeMarcus Lawrence leave Dallas and go and win a Super Bowl. And understand, he has no shot in Las Vegas right now, right? And he's 28, right? So he's got, but that shelf as a defensive lineman can go quick. And as good as he is, go to a team that you think you have a chance.
I will say it again and again and again and again, as I said it last year. The Cleveland Browns should have traded Myles Garrett, should have traded Myles Garrett, should have traded Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett was the best defensive player in the NFL this year. He broke the sack record, and they won bupkis. And that was the most predictable thing in the entire world, and they find themselves in a worse position than they were at this time last year. So the Raiders should absolutely learn from that. If they're not going to trade the #1 overall pick because they've decided there's a quarterback there they can't pass up, and I don't disagree with that. If you think Mendoza is the next in the line of great ones, then yes, you take him. Your next most valuable asset is Maxx Crosby. You can either lose a ton of games with him or without him next year. Lose the games without him and get a bunch of picks in return. The Raiders should, whether it's Dallas, whoever it is, the Raiders should trade Maxx Crosby.
And it's hard to argue that point because you look at what they need on their roster, and you can fill that with multiple spots. And I think you said it. Not only was Myles Garrett on the Browns, he won Defensive Player of the Year again.
Right.
And still didn't do what they needed to do to get to the playoffs.
And the coach got fired. I mean, literally everything that you could see coming happened.
For the player, bro. For Myles Garrett, I hate it. I mean, you're Joe. Man, like
well, Myles Garrett.
He took the money, guys.
He took the money. That's what he did. He came on with us on Super Bowl Sunday and said, "I will not play for the Browns again." And they said, "How about for this much money?" And he said, "Okay, I changed my mind."
The money's still there when the career ends.
Exactly.
You got a big house, right?
That's right.